Not right now, Leo. Hey, Nichelle.
Hello, I'm still moving around, but I'm here.
That's cool. I just I end up waking up a little late myself because I couldn't sleep for like a day and a half.
Oh, that's not good.
No. So
The brain starts to do all types of things after about 24 hours.
I know. And it was I had a bunch of I had like a couple closings and just because of the rates drop, I had like a bunch of refis come in, so there's just so much on my mind. I wasn't
Yeah,
getting it's just nuts.
it's good but crazy at the same time.
Yep, I'll take it.
Come on, Meta connect so I can go finish cooking my breakfast.
Yes.
Stinking. I don't know why it's connected to the earbuds. They're not even here.
In spirit, that's why they're like, you know what? We still love them.
Now I don't hear you.
All good. My breakfast is a boost. Oh, let me pull up the.
Let's see. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to hear you. It wasn't playing. I didn't hear nothing you said the last 2 minutes.
It's it's all good. Can you hear me now?
I can, but I'm trying to get my headsets to connect because I hear you better with those.
All right, cool.
Say something.
All right, can you hear me
Perfect.
better with this? Excellent.
Yep.
Cook
Yeah, it
one,
wasn't you. It was me. I have like three Bluetooth devices connected
right?
to this laptop, and like three of them connected, and didn't know which one I wanted to hear from.
Got it. Man, my cats are being real talkative today, so hopefully they behave.
I don't hear them, so
All right, good. I do. My youngest cat, Leo, who is kind of like my sidekick, does not like it when I shut my office door.
ah,
Yep. He's
he likes to be able to roam with you, and he can't right now.
and sitting on my desk watching me work. So the cries of his people are being heard. I've somehow slighted his entire generation. So,
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, you
You,
never
you
loved
haven't been at the
me.
office in the last couple of weeks, have you?
No, I've been up there. I last week I was pretty much out with the getting my wisdom tooth pulled,
Uh-huh.
and like normally a person shouldn't be out that much for a wisdom tooth, but the one that I had to get pulled was on the bottom left,
Yep.
and um, like that one was bad because it was wrapped around that facial nerve,
I
and
remember.
and thankfully found the like I said, I found the guy that could do it, and but afterwards because that thing had been getting pressure all that time. Now that that tooth is off, the tooth became live, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
that it was pretty intense.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, I know that I missed the last two meetings,
You did
but
not
I
miss
came in
any.
after the last two LTRs, but I came in afterwards.
Got it. Yeah, Betty wasn't there this week. Laura ran it, and I don't remember the week before because was I there? No, I wasn't there either because the the surgery. Let me pull up the
Yeah, apparently Betty's been sick or something, but I don't know.
wah, wah.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be bothered, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you got stuff going on?
I got a little stuff going on. I actually thought I had a contract I was writing today. Um, but I think they went in-house
Got it.
because he said they're working it now, but he hasn't updated the MLS yet.
Hmm,
Well, we'll leave it alone. Like I told her, not meant for us. It's not meant for us. So,
right.
oh, there you go. Are you up there now? Oh, I didn't put my name badge on.
Oh yeah, me neither. But it's all good. Should show at the bottom. All
Mine
right.
will. Oh, Brad.
Da, da, da.
I wanted the glasses so I could walk around and still talk.
Right. Let me have my screens.
But no, then I've got a situation and I don't know what to do about it. Um, I have this client and I've already talked to Ben about it and I've already reached out to Adult Protective Services on it. And I reached out to the police this week because it escalated.
Oh man.
So I've got this client who she came to me by way of my lead service,
Mm-hmm.
and she was initially working with her friend who was going to be her POA.
Okay.
Um, we all met. She signed the contract to list her property, and the friend says, "I'm going to go back to the Cape and see. I need to think about this to see what she can buy for that amount down here." I was like, "Okay, great." I go, "Well, I can hold it for up to 30 days, and then that 30 days I've got to go on market." Fast forward, 30 days go by. Her and the friend during this time have had a falling out because the other part of this, which is what I call the police, is the friend and her had a falling out because my client believes she is dating and talking to Sam Elliott, the actor. Yeah. To the point that Sam Elliott has convinced her to open up some Charlie online bank account and send some of her money to the online Charlie bank account.
Awesome.
Um, and he was getting into all of her finances, and the friend talked to her about it. And so Sam convinced her that Carl was out to get her, and they had a falling out. And so now it's just her with Sam. And I thought we were okay because Carol had blocked him on a lot of stuff, but he got back to her. Well, now we are about to sell her property. And I talked to Ben about it because I was like, I don't even know if I want to try and sell this thing
Right.
just because of what's going on with it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm like, I like, there's an ethical part of me that just feels some kind of way about it.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, So I called the Adult Protective Services and they said there's already a case open. They go out there again. Obviously she doesn't answer the door. I show up, I give her the little card, and there's nothing. Well, I was out there Thursday
Yeah.
because we had a buyer coming through. Because here's the other part of it. She's $10,000 in back taxes simply because she hasn't paid them.
Yeah.
And when her friend jumped in, the state was getting ready to file foreclosure procedures 2 months ago.
Damn.
So now we're in a situation where she had a letter where someone sent us and said that they've already started those proceedings.
Oh shit.
So at this point, we need to sell so she can at least get some money out of the sale of her house. So that's
Yes.
the part that I'm working on. But
Right.
my concern that I have is I pick up her phone because she wants me to look at it for something. And I look at his message. Oh, he sent her houses that he's gone to Montana to find for them to buy together.
This is weird. Yeah.
But he's only but when you can go to Zillow and take these pictures, but he says he's been there. Um and then when I look at her messages, and while I'm looking at it, I just start to scroll up because I know
Yeah.
the backstory of this dude. He's been asking her to go to the bank because she doesn't know her username and password for her Bank of America account. And I had told her that's the money I want her to put her money into because I knew he didn't have access to it.
Right.
And I knew that just from my conversation with her friend. So now that
Yep.
he knows that, he's trying to get access to it. So
Oh
I was like,
no.
well, let me just call the police.
Yep.
I call the police and they tell me there is absolutely nothing they can do
Yep.
because she is willingly giving this information over. And so I am like gut punch because I need to sell her house because the state is going to take it if she
Yep.
doesn't. And she's also 2 months back on her HOA. So if the state doesn't take it, the HOA
HOA.
is going to take it.
Yep.
And so I emailed the HOA to let them know that we were working to sell it. So that would at least stave them off from filing
Yep.
proceedings. But I can't do anything with the state. And so we have a pending offer that I either will or will not accept by Monday. And we have someone coming out to look at it tomorrow who may put an offer in. But the house will more than likely sell within a week,
Nice.
um, which is good so the state doesn't take it. But it's bad because he may get her account. And I'm like, she's in a situation where she really can't drive herself anywhere. So she's expecting him to come down here after the house is sold and take her to Montana.
Oh,
And so my gut thing is, so we need to sell your house so you get money, but you're about to lose your house and you're waiting on someone that isn't going to show up.
nope.
And I was just like, I don't know what else I can do with this one. I just
Sometimes you just gotta do what your singular job is, and it sucks. You
and
know.
this is the part that fucking sucks because
Yep.
I was like, my job is to sell her house. So
Yep.
I'm going to sell her house. I saw that there was a problem, so I reached out to the Adult
Yep.
Protective Services. I reached out to the police. I've done everything that I even
Yep.
reached back out to her friend. I go, hey, I'm afraid, but I've done all that I can do. So
Yeah.
if she has a daughter, this is the time where you guys really, I know her daughter doesn't want to talk to her. I go, but you guys really need to step in because we are about to sell her house.
Yep.
She told me not to tell you the details, but I can at least tell you that.
Right.
So we're about to sell her house. And once her house is sold, she's
Yep.
screwed.
Yep. But hey, that's not on you. You know, you did your thing. You did every single thing you could do to help.
So that's it. Oh, and then whatchamacallit is trying to get a hold of you. Chris.
Chris.
He's supposed to be getting a hold of you because he wants to talk about a cash out or refi a HELOC
Oh, cool.
while he waits until January. Because that's he did T-Shack.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
So 3 years is up January.
that makes
And
sense.
so
Yeah, because if he sells, he has to pay that back.
So he wants to talk about that, but I told him I didn't know because I know with a HELOC that just basically means you're going to take your equity, and if you take your equity, you're not going to have any money to sell.
Right. And if you
And
get a HELOC, well, he hasn't listed it for sale. He can't get a HELOC. There's not enough equity currently.
according to him, he owes 220,000.
Yeah. But you need to have
Uh,
you can only borrow up to 20% of your equity, even
okay,
with a HELOC. So he doesn't like, or you have to have at least an 80% loan to value. And so
it's not there.
It ain't there.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
so yeah, he was talking about that, and then he was also talking about a cash out basis. And I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know anything about those. So I'm gonna let you talk to Ron,
Same
but
thing.
I think his thing is if he's got to carry it from October to December, it's just too much for him. But I'm like, well, you said you were thinking about moving back into it. Move back into it
That's what I've been
until
telling him. Move back in and stay for a couple years.
yeah, move back into it at the very least to the end of the year, and then we can
Yeah.
put it on the market.
Yep. Exactly. Get this out of here. Did you get your
I know of
breakfast?
at least two that were supposed to have joining.
Cool. I had a couple people say they were going to join too, but I think it's a weird time. Not today, but just it was weird with me being out for a week and not being able to push it as much. At least we can get content.
Yeah,
And it's recording. I see the
this is
little
great.
recording thing, so that's solid. We can chop it up.
I see that too.
Yep. So
Yeah,
unlike the last time where I thought I
we couldn't
pushed,
figure out why I wouldn't record.
yeah. So I just put it on like it's recording every single time. Like I cannot hurt it myself. And I would not know where to find that again. So
Oh, yeah, that. After I finish my breakfast, we can start.
that's cool. Same. I got this boost action I'm working on. I'm working on my second
Mine is.
paint.
Oh, yes, I saw that. It's nice.
Yeah, it's my second. That's the second painting I've ever done. So here we are.
You did it freehand.
Yeah. I bought a bunch of paint. I was like, I'm gonna figure this out because my first painting is the one that's hanging in my office in Frisco, and so I was like, I was like, I'm gonna try that one, and so here I am. Hey, Alyssa, how's it
There she
going?
is. Hey, Alyssa, you're on mute if you're trying to talk. And Alyssa's here. Then we should have at least one more.
Hi guys, how
I,
are you guys doing?
Good.
doing
How are
good in
you?
you.
Okay.
Is mom
Good.
joining?
Doing good. Yeah, she should be. One second, I can
Cool.
text her.
Take your time. I'm snacking on breakfast here, so I'm gonna go off camera for
Okay,
just a
me
second.
too. Okay. Let me text her. She said that she's trying to sign on. Hmm.
Did you have to sign into Zoom?
Okay.
Welcome.
I just remembered to make you co-host, Nichelle.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I've got about 3 bites left, and then I'm ready. But we can get started whenever you are.
Sounds good. Let me put this up here because I was finishing out that boost. We're both finishing breakfast, chit-chatting. How's so? Um, and I just wanted to confirm, Nichelle, did I share my? Are people seeing this screen as well?
We do see your screen.
Yes.
Awesome. Perfect.
I'm gonna go and Hold on. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello. I'll be on camera in just a second. I'm trying to finish up my food, but I'm also finna send you the packet so everyone has it. Okay. So this is kind of like a home buyer's packet that we have here. A lot of this, Alyssa, and Lisa, you guys, we kind of went over this when we did the introductory buyer strategy session, what, last week. So a lot of this is in that. This is just a reference point for you. This is Ron. He's going to talk to you a little bit about ourselves. This is the lender that I mentioned to you that after we've had this session, we'll want to schedule a meeting with him about the pre-approval process. Ron, these are some of my clients and friends actually that I met when we were traveling in New Orleans a couple of weeks ago.
Cool.
And so Alyssa's looking at, she's a college student getting her RN degree, and she's
Awesome.
looking at doing what we talk about and building generational wealth by starting with purchasing her first property here, even while she's still in school.
That's exciting.
So everybody knows everybody. I've got about 2 bites left, but I think we can get started. And as long as you don't mind having semi mouthful for me for about 5 minutes, we can get started.
It's all right. Get your food in.
I am because if I don't, it'll be 6 o'clock tonight.
I hear you. I had a boost and an Adderall, so I'm good.
Yeah, I have 5 showings today with Miss Dia as soon as this is over with.
Excellent. It's gonna be
So
fun. But we got the agenda up, and so like Nichelle kind of mentioned, we're gonna go over who we are, the differences between buying and renting, anatomy of a loan, types of loan, qualifying for a loan, the loan process, and then the next steps after the seminar. Because since you're a part of the seminar today, you are also going to get a coupon from me for the appraisal, and it's good up to $700. So that helps save some money since you're having an opportunity to kind of learn about the process and what's going on. And we'll go from there. And I know that Nichelle's eating, so I'm going to go right into like who I am, what we do. I've been in this business now 10 years. I've helped about 2,000 families with their home investment journey. And I help my whole entire mindset is and kind of like tagline is I guide people along the path of successful home ownership when others simply showed them to a door. And there's more to being a partner in your lending journey than just doing a loan for you because many people don't realize that after closing, when tax bills come out in October and escrow reviews in January and home valuations in April, like there's just so many things, that, especially for first time home buyers, that they're not aware of. That if they don't have the right partners in place, they could be set up for a lot more stress than they should. And especially with one of the largest financial investments that they make, I take this very seriously, and that's why I also agreed to partner with Nichelle on these seminars because she has the same heart, if not even more intense, to make sure her clients are protected from the surprise scenarios that you would never know unless you bought a house before. And so I work with some of the top agents in DFW, help them serve their clients so that I can take a lot of stress off their plates because I'm the numbers guy. They're there to help make sure that you are finding the right property, negotiating the best deal, and making sure that you're taken care of on that front so that I do my part in making sure that the deal that they are negotiating is aligned with your current and long-term financial goals and you're fully pre-approved so you don't have anything to stress about during the process. And so that's a little bit more about me. And now you guys know Nichelle, but this part of it is where she would tell a little bit about her.
Yeah, and so you guys do know me, but I still go into it. So obviously, my name is Nichelle Boylan, and my tagline is building generational wealth one home at a time. And how it came to me is very personal. When I went to buy my first home, I didn't know anything about that process. And going through that process, I ran into a realtor who also didn't know anything about the home buying process, it turned out. And that was extremely frustrating to me because I think as a professional, you should know your craft. And so I made it a mission of mine is to be the gap in knowing my craft and educating my clients, and building a network of talented individuals that I can partner with. And I opted to go with Century 21 because they do speak to a lot of the values that I have. And having worked in corporate America, one of the biggest frustrations I had was working for companies that did not live the values that they spoke. And so I wanted to make sure that I was partnering with the company because this is my business at the end of the day, is that I was partnering with a company that would adhere to the values that I have and hold my clients in the same regards that I do. And I only partner with individuals that do that. And so my goal is about protecting your rights, saving you money, and helping you build generational wealth, which is why we spend a great deal of time and focus more on understanding your needs and wants and what your goal is so that between me and my partners, in this particular case, Ron, we can devise a plan of action for you that gets you to your goal in the next 5, 10, 15 years, as opposed to just opening you a door and then you never hearing from us again.
Mhm.
I my clients and they have me on speed dial will call me up for ancillary stuff, and I do not mind because I want to be the go-to person for your realtor. If you have a real estate need, no matter what it is, I want to be that go-to person, and that's kind of a little bit about who I am.
Okay.
As you know, I've oh he took me off.
No, no,
Thank
you
you. I
go.
wasn't done.
Even my ADD's like, I know we have a thing.
But I'll be real quick. But as you guys know, as I was gonna say, is what is important to me is also the educational component of it. So you'll see I have my GRI and my ABR. And the ABR is an accredited buyer representative. So I've gone through the courses to make sure that I'm fully representing my buyers. And then the GRI is kind of like a master's degree for real estate agents. And there's about 5% in the United States that even have them. And I did that so that not only would I take my past experiences, but I would take my current experiences in helping you with the biggest investment that you're going to make. Now, Ron can switch over to the slide about how you choose your lender.
Yep. And so part of it is in these process, you get a little hint about who I am as a lender. But the key is when you're talking with lenders and talking with your realtor, is learning about the lender itself. And we're going to go into some of the differences between bankers and brokers and uh, registered loan officers. I'm a licensed residential mortgage loan officer with a national license versus being somebody who's just registered operating under a license. But talking to them about their own personal experience is going to be important. Have you bought a home before? When was the last time you purchased a home? Because it's a lot different talking to someone who has lived experience, not just operational experience where they've done this for other people. Because if they haven't bought a house, they don't know the pain of an escrow adjustment year two that maybe they weren't ready for or things like that. So it's something that you want to have somebody that you relate to because this is in the top five most stressful things you do typically in life. And if you don't feel comfortable and confident talking with that person, it's not going to be in a pleasurable and an enjoyable experience. So, choosing a lender is knowing what they do, how long they've been doing it, their communication style, and these other bullet points that are so important, especially when you are working with an amazing realtor. That relationship has to be key because the communication style that goes into doing one of your largest investments needs to be on point because on average there's 8 companies and 32 people involved in every mortgage transaction between the parties, between the inspector, the appraiser, the title company, their employees. Like we and Nichelle and I have to corral them all and help to make sure that you close in 21 to 30 days or whatever the contract reads, and you don't feel any of that stress. So choosing a lender, finding out who they are, what they do, and why they're doing it is going to be some of the key factors in that. And that's where we kind of go into this part where there's different styles. A mortgage bank, a, a bank itself, which is a depository, and a mortgage broker. And there's different reasons why each have positives, like you see, and negatives. But like as a mortgage, I'm a good blend of both mortgage banker and broker. I can do every loan in the state of Texas outside of NACA, which is a great program. It just takes too long for most clients. But as you can see, when you're a mortgage bank, programs are limited. And that's because you can usually only offer a certain amount. Same thing with the regular bank. They're really strict with guidelines. And but a broker, they kind of lack some of the control. So that's why I partnered with American Pacific Mortgage and Meridian Mortgage, which they're combined companies, because it gives me the flexibility to be able to negotiate for my clients, let them go to one place. I handle all of the back end, and we get them the best rates and programs and fees because we do it all in house. So it helps give that power back to my clients to where they're not getting overcharged or limited in what they can do because I only offer 4 programs. And it's been something that has been important for me to watch and monitor my entire career. I've never compromised my clients by going to a place that I could limit or that limits me and what I can and can't do. And it's a point of pride for me because, again, I like to sleep at night. So if I couldn't serve somebody appropriately, it would really bother me. And to be fair, some if I know a place that does something better, like if there's a unique program that I could do, but my clients would do something better, kind of like HELOCs, I do them. They're great, but I know Frost Bank has a little bit better rates and fees. Guess who I send my clients to? Frost Bank. I don't care about the commission. I care about the relationship. And so but knowing somebody with integrity, seeing the different banking styles, and knowing that I do both. But here's a news flash: Fairway Mortgage does it like that. Supreme Lending does it like that. Cross Country Mortgage does it like that. I'm not the only one. I'll never try to make you feel like I'm the only person that does a certain thing. There's a lot of great companies out there. I'm just dedicated in a way that's a lot of loan officers are not, but I'm not the only loan officer like that. It's a little bit more about the different styles, but another key part is how do you choose a realtor? Now, you guys already chose the top tier realtor. Some people don't get the benefit of getting to work with Nichelle. She told you her experience. I hear horror stories all the time. For instance, I just closed somebody yesterday. He was working with a different realtor, different lender, and his wife passed away earlier at the end of last year. Devastating time period, but he promised to her to help her buy a house, to buy a house for their like 6-year-old son. The realtor and lender that they worked with were horrible. The lender told him he couldn't afford anything more than like $150,000 fixer-upper, and it was just a horrible experience. So he fired them, found his realtor, found me, and in 45 days from start to finish, we got him approved. We had him out shopping for houses, and we closed yesterday, and his cash to close was 656 bucks. And it was such a really cool experience because here's this dad who lost his wife and 6-year-old son, and now he got to fulfill his promise to his wife. And I'm like, I love the fact that I was a part of this journey for him. And again, it goes to why choosing the right realtor and lender is so important because one sowed discord and doubt and fear into them. The other one sowed in promise and dedication, and now he's fulfilled a promise to his recently passed wife. And like I already got chills all thinking about it because that's what this is about. It's building that generational wealth because now a 6-year-old won't grow up thinking, how can I
with a
be
house.
a homeowner? He is a homeowner right now. And it's awesome. And then the next phase is, which is choosing a realtor. And I'll let Michelle talk.
And so we kind of talked about this, but during this process, whether it be 30 days, 45 days, 90 days, or a year, I have clients at all phases of it. It's important that you work with a realtor that knows the areas of interest that you're talking about because we have something called geographical competency. And while I can't tell you if this area is, quote, good for you, I give you niche.com for that. I can tell you, hey, this area has development happening in this area. I know this is going on in this area. Hey, this is coming to the community. And that kind of gives you ideas about your buying power, but more importantly, your selling power, because we're always thinking about that. The other thing is, I want to learn about your experience. Are you a first time home buyer? Are you not a first time home buyer? Have they ever worked with a first time home buyer? Because let's be honest, working with a first time home buyer is completely different than working with someone who has bought and sold homes before. There's just a difference, and we have both on this phone call. And so you know that there is a difference being a first time home buyer and actually being someone who has bought and sold before. And then how long has they been in business? I don't think that one matters as much to some as it does what their reputation is in business, because there are a lot of people that transfer, myself included. You and I talked about this, that transfer from other organizations, that they can transfer those skills to it. But what is their team flow like? Are they solo by themselves? And so if something happens at 12 o'clock at night, is there someone that they can call? Or is there not, or are they having to rely on their own selves? So I always look at my team. I was telling Ron before you guys jumped in this call, I had a really serious situation with one of my clients, and I was able to reach out to the principals of Century 21. Not to the middle management, but literally to our CFOs, CEOs, and ask them some insights about how I should do certain things that not only protect myself, but protect my client as well. Then the other thing is you want to make sure that you can talk to them. If you're in a conversation with your realtor and for whatever reason, even if it was me, you don't feel like you can be open and honest, that's probably not the realtor for you. And why do I say that? Your realtor needs to know everything you know. If you feel like you're having to hold back information, that's a problem. Why? You know that you want to rent your house out and you don't tell your realtor that you want to rent your house out. So your realtor is going through the process of helping you purchase your house. They didn't even take into account that you want to rent your house out. So they didn't run any figures, anything for you that you want to rent your house out. Ron can tell you about that story, um, or anything. And now all of a sudden you're upside down and your home is in debt servicing because your realtor never knew that this was something you were considering. And since they didn't know this was something you were considering, they didn't do a cost benefit analysis for you. And so now you're upside down and you don't know why. So it's important that you understand, you trust your realtor, you know your realtor, because you guys really do become best friends. And I'm going to be honest, when I close a deal, I feel a little sad because they've been my best friend for like 4 weekends in a row. It's
Yep.
like we were going out every weekend. We were seeing each other every weekend. I was like, and I even posted on my social media sometimes. I'm like, okay, I just closed my last 3 recently active clients. I need new weekend friends, because that is really what it starts to feel like.
Yep.
Because it's like that's just our life. It's what we're doing, and so that's pretty cool. But I also love the part, and Ron closed this deal with me a couple of weeks ago, and I think I was talking to you guys about it back when we were in New Orleans. And that's the pride and joy that I had on the place when I sat across from the table of my 20 something client and her father, who were purchasing her first condo
Yep.
in the community she's been living in for 3 years, that she's going to live in for a year and then turn it into her first rental property. And to sit there and see dad's face of pride and joy as daughter is signing is like that warms my heart. That warms my soul. And then even though we closed 3 weeks ago, she's called and talked to me probably 3 or 4 times, asking me just little stuff about what she's doing. And that tells me that I've earned her trust and that she relies on me as a source. And I want to be one of your sources. And that's kind of why it's essential. If you don't have that type of relationship, kind of like they say, I don't want it. And that's just being honest. I want to make sure that I'm here for you and I'm standing in the gap no matter what. You should never be afraid to go, I want to ask this question, but I'm afraid to ask it. If your realtor makes you feel that way, you're probably in the wrong place. And so that's kind of how it looks at when you go to choosing your realtor.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Nichelle was not kidding. I referred to a client over to her because um, he bought a house and didn't tell his agent that he was thinking about renting it out, and they didn't do a market rent analysis. And it's something that's super beneficial when you're buying a property is because we don't know what we don't know. And we don't know if our jobs are going to get moved or if you enter in a bit deeper relationship that maybe they don't want to live in that house, you guys want to live in another house. And so you might want to rent your property. If you didn't do a market rent analysis in the beginning, you don't know if your property is going to debt service. And what that means is if your mortgage is 3,000, but you can only rent for 2,700, well, now you're going to have a $300 a month gap. Can you afford a $300 a month gap? If not, maybe that property isn't the right one for you. And so helping to detach from that emotional state, because when we see property, we think home, family, security, life. But when we look at it as an investment, hey, this is a home. Statistically, you're going to be in 3 to 6 years because that's the statistical average timeline for a first-time home buyer to be in their home. Part of it is they buy a property and they because they've never bought one before, they don't know the little things that could cause them to want to sell or refinance or, you know, turn it into a rental when they got in, like bathtub sizes and closet sizes. I say those things because it's a trigger to me because I in this business 8 years ago when I bought my first house, my wife was in Paris and I was here doing a video tour with her and the house had been fully renovated. And I'm showing her, she's all excited, we're excited, and we put the offer in. Then later, she calls me on the phone, "Hey babe, I didn't think to think about it, but what do the closets and bathrooms look like?" I'm like, "Oh, they're great." They were great, but they were not actually great. I'm dying. But like the bathtub was tiny. The closets 1950, they were renovated. They were just not made to be bigger. And so we were like, "Oh, it's fine. We'll renovate later." We did not. And so we were only in that house 3 years. And that was the first time I ever experienced an escrow account adjustment. And the fact that I should not have, like, we loved the house, but we would have bought a different house if we would have paid attention to those. Because my wife is an actor and she has tons of clothes, tons. So we had clothes in our primary bedroom's closet, the second bedroom's closet. We actually had to turn a whole second bedroom into her closet. And so it was not fun for 3 years. Could have saved money and time if we'd have just bought the right house up front, but we didn't know how important those things were. And that's where working with your realtor, your lender, talking about those things, because if you know you like to soak in a bathtub, which back then I didn't care. I was like, I would take a shower or whatever. Now that I actually have a soaking tub, I'm like, I'm in that thing more than she is. I'm like, it's my soak time. I need to disconnect. And so that's why, again, going back to realtors and lenders, this is such an awesome experience, especially when you want partners, because we're about it, the long-term relationships. And that's what we're going into, like the advantages of buying versus renting. Because many people don't know when you're renting, you're paying a mortgage, it's just not your own. And renting is at 100% interest. Why? Because there's no return at the end. You get nothing. You get a bill usually when you leave the apartment or rental property saying you damaged the walls or you didn't paint the whatever. But when you sell your house, if you've done it correctly and partner with the right people, you've built equity. And we're going to talk about that. And the way I operate is I like to help heal and bridge gaps and break down systems that have kept people from building this generational wealth and showing them the behind the scenes like property tax that you get to write off and your interest you get to write off on your taxes and how property ownership and how properties appreciate. And one of the things that drives me to wake up early every morning, go to work and grind and but being in a healthy state is that I know that homeowners have 40 times the net worth of a renter across all income streams. And that drives me crazy because when we go to school, nothing against it, but we all get taught a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and I have never used that in my life since school. Not that we shouldn't learn it, but maybe we should learn how to like the importance of property ownership a little bit deeper, and how to pay taxes and write a check. And, you know what I mean? Like little things that we actually do when we are out of school that help us be able to build a path to retirement. And when you see that the average equity position is over $300,000 and two-thirds of our wealth is tied to the ownership in property, that's a big important thing. And it is going to be harder and harder every year because there's now, especially since 2017, a massive influx of private equity coming into buying a ton of property, creating a gap even wider in the ability for regular people to be able to buy because now you're competing against billionaire investors. And so this is where I go into like home price appreciation over the last 83 years. Because since 1942, many people don't know that home values have only gone down 6 times. And 5 times between 2007 and 11, that was during the economic housing crisis, where back then, if you could fog a mirror, you could get a loan and it would be stated income and you get 5, 6 properties. Oh, you say you make 500 grand? Perfect. Let's get you 5 properties, a condo in Florida, and what's your cat's name? We'll even throw one under their name. And that actually happened. And so, but every other year, appreciations. Why do you think billionaires are investing? Because your cash on cash return, meaning what you have to put out of pocket to be in the position to invest, is unmatched. Because think about this. Let's take 2020 for example. What properties went up 10%. If we have an investment, say it's $10,000, we bought a stock that went up 10% that year. That's a great return. That's only $1,000 bucks. But if we bought a $300,000 house and that went up 10%, that's 30 grand. So you take that 10,000 and buy a $300,000 house, you'd make 30 grand. Would you rather make 1,000 or 30,000? But A squared plus B squared equals C squared. You know, like, thank you for teaching me that, Miss Battle. I do not need that today. And I do have a calculator in my pocket, in the air. I can say, hey, Alexa, what's this? And I know the answers. Yeah, we're gonna have words.
But you don't
But
have the new Alexa. Go ahead.
exactly, I don't have glasses that read me my text messages, and I can see it on my like she's Tony Stark, and she's just being over there all cool and all, and mine are basic level over this. It's like I need Tony Stark glasses. And so but that's the thing, things adapt in time. She's still in 1925 when, she was first going to high school and thinking it's all going to be the same. Mortgage doesn't stay the same, and neither does technology. And she's probably still in the same outfit in the same high school in Tingsboro, Massachusetts. But now we're in this part, and I got to be where I'm at. And like she probably thought, oh, he's going nowhere. I'm like, okay, good. Let's see who won that battle. But the anatomy of mortgage payment. Why do people get nervous about buying property? Because they don't know. Nobody knows what we don't know. And our natural instinct is to do what we feel safe. And it's part of our biology. We have a fight or flight mechanism. And when we do not understand something, our brain's anatomy is to help us prevent and avoid pain or danger. So when you don't know what P&I or principal and interest and taxes and insurance and what your payment's going to be comprised of or what the process looks like, you might not consciously think you're making a decision to avoid it, but it's a subconscious level. Renting is easy. Well, why is it so easy in our minds if it isn't put in essence programmed that you just rent when you first get out of college, rent a couple years, figure it out, get married, follow the system, churn and burn, and never build long-term generational wealth? I feel like it's by design. So that's why Nichelle and I are here, chopping it up, making it easy so you can feel safe and comfortable because you know what's coming. Then it's not a scary thing. You're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. This makes sense. I expect this. Principal and interest. It's also how you build wealth because every single time you make a payment, a portion goes to principal balance reduction. The other part's interest, and a lot of people avoid it because, oh, I don't want to pay interest. It's gonna my house. If I buy a $300,000 house, it's gonna be this by the time I pay it off. But they forget the slide about the home price appreciation. But you can also write off the interest. Taxes. Every year, this is another reason why we get ahead of the threats because it's almost like a SWOT analysis: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Taxes can go up every year. What do me and Nichelle do? Make sure that you get your exemptions in place, that we monitor your values and do contesting the values when it comes out in April. Insurance, your insurance can go up, but guess what? It's not scary if you know to shop it. It's not scary when we track the dates of your policy renewal period and remind you 45 days before, hey, you might want to call your insurance company and find out what the rates are. And if it's not going to be the same or lower, that's time to go call the next person who wants to earn your business and maybe get you a better policy. And that's some of the stuff that we do through that relationship. But then it gives you a total, which is called PITI: principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So that's the anatomy of the payment. And then, of course, there's tons of types of loans, right? There's conventional. FHA, government, which is part of the government loans, conforming, jumbo, first-time home buyers. Technically, first-time home buyer logo is more of a marketing thing. You're considered a first-time home buyer if you haven't had ownership interest in a property in the last 3 years. There's a ton of programs, um, but the only difference in conventional is that if you're a first-time home buyer, you can put 3% down instead of 5% down. But everything else is just marketing. Sorry to be the Wizard of Oz getting exposed behind the curtain, but that's the truth. And fixed rate versus adjustable rates, which adjustable rates are different than balloon mortgages that were happening in 2004, 2005, all of that led to the crisis. But in most cases, adjustable mortgages don't make sense. But there are times where they do, say a doctor or somebody who knows they move a lot, an entertainer, and they know they're not going to be in this home long term. Maybe they get a 7-1 arm and the rate's a little bit lower because they know that they're going to be selling in 3 to 4 years. But that's a little bit of a touch there. But there's so many cool programs that we are here, and the actual conforming loan limit went up for 2026. It's like 816 now, so that's awesome because it helps get better opportunities for our clients that can put less down. Because if you were back in the day, if your loan amount was over this, you had to go to jumbo, and a jumbo loan requires a larger down payment for your property. Typically, they want 10 to 20% down. Where if you're buying as a first-time home buyer or a regular buyer, you could put 5% down. So that could save a lot of money, especially as home prices go up so fast. Gives them opportunity to get into property without having to have a crazy amount of money out of pocket up front, which we already kind of touched on these, and you can see it. What's important is like gifts, and some people have gift funds. They have down payment and closing cost assistance programs, and what's the minimum credit scores, and is FHA bad, and it gets a bad rap, and is this one a good one? It's all personally specific and custom tailored to each client. And we're going to debunk some of the myths around these programs, but in the end, they all pretty much operate the same. It's just, do you qualify for VA? Are you a veteran? No, cool. No, then you're not a VA, then you don't get VA. USDA is more about the area. Is it a USDA approved area? And government loans typically have lower interest rates because they have a federal backing from the government. So it's not a bad thing. I have doctors and I have lawyers and I have people that have perfect credit go to FHA because the way they treat student loans, and they allow for higher debt to income ratio. So it's not a bad program. It's fantastic. But some people have been told that it's not great. And 2/3 of my business goes FHA because it is such an amazing opportunity. Go into the qualifying because that's the other part. People are intimidated about the qualifying process because credit, the crazy system that credit is, income, assets, all of this taps into our internal fears and that fight or flight mechanism. Some people are fighters, so they might be a little bit more aggressive and weird on that call. Some people are they want to fawn or flight. That's okay. We're here to help you feel comfortable and confident, move you from an emotional state to an empowered state to where you're making decisions that align with your current long-term goals. The first part we're going to cover is credit. That's confusing because again, we know a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but we don't know what components make up our credit score. We're just out here guessing and not sure to know where to focus. Payment history is 35%. If you miss one payment, it can drop your scores 100 points. You could be making perfect payments for 10 years, which is, in my opinion, absolutely absurd, and miss one payment, now your score drops 100 points. It's crazy, but it's important. Length of credit, 15% waiting, in use and new credit, 20, and then 30% amount owed or balance utilization, because we're going to talk about that today. And then because credit is one of the first pillars of qualifying for a mortgage. So when we're looking at it, some say minimum 600. There's FHA programs that go down like 570, 580. Tax liens, we're going to look at that. But guess what? There's ways around all of these hurdles. There's programs around it. Same thing with different time periods for bankruptcy and short sale and foreclosure. Some people right now are facing short sales because they bought the wrong property because their realtor didn't inform them of the risks of buying these properties and how, if they had to sell in that 2, 3 year period, would they be able to return their money? And a lot of it's centering around new builds. Now, that's no shade to new builds, but If it's a brand new build community and you're a first time home buyer and you have to sell in 3 years, in that 3 year period, if that new build is not built up, you are now competing against the new builder, their lender, their incentives. And what happened last year is new builds needed to sell that inventory, so they dropped their price. Now the house that you bought is selling for the new build lender for less than you bought it for. And that's something to look out for. And so when we go into these scenarios, those people who are thinking about short selling, look at this 4 year period for a short sale on conventional, where chapter 13 is only two. I'm not telling people to go file for bankruptcy, but if you don't have people that have attorneys on speed dial, they don't have the one team like Judge Fight does and have those resources, you might fall into where you don't even have a phone call with somebody and your home gets foreclosed on and now you're stuck at a conventional for 7 years, 3 years for FHA, 2 years for VA. But look at this chapter 13 down here. 1 year, 1 year, 2 year. Chapter 7, 4 year, 2 year, 2 year. So maybe, just maybe, having that right relationship can help you avoid some of these pains that we're already going to look for up front, but also help you avoid in the future. But
Hey, Ron, explain short sale real quick.
yep. So short sale is, say you have a house that you owe 300,000, but the market dictates that you can't sell it for 300, you got to sell it for 290. That means the servicer is going to take a $10,000 loss just by that home closing. But there's more costs that go into selling a house than just the net proceeds of the sale, in a sense, because realtor fees and closing fees and title fees and all of these things. So the bank might end up going short 20 grand and the bank has to authorize that. And so, but in the end, the bank understands that it's less expensive for them to offer that than foreclosure proceedings, because then you have to go to court, you got to pay attorneys, they got to do all of this stuff. So the most of the time they'll negotiate and try to get it done. But that's why it's less time than foreclosure, but it's very close to and equivalent to a foreclosure because they're usually taking a loss on the property. So that's kind of what a short sale is, um, in a nutshell. If there's anything else you'd like to add to it, Michelle, feel free.
No, that's really the biggest part of it on the short sale is just making sure that you kind of understand what a short sale is, and it is something that has to be approved by the bank's trustee. And so it's as a last resort, but we also, and Ron knows this one as well, we have a company that if you go through us and you are ever in a situation or you have a job where, like I do, you have a
Mhm.
job where it's pretty much 100% commission and you're like, hey, what happens if I get into a situation where I can't afford my monthly payment?
Yep.
Because whether you say it or not, I know that's every home buyer's fear. One of their biggest fear is that I buy this property, something happens, I can't make a payment, I lose this property. That's just
Yep.
the reality. You would be crazy if you didn't think that. But we actually have a company that has insurance for it,
Yep.
and it's a nominal price. You pay for it up front. But this particular company, if you sign up for them with, I think within 30 days of closing, they will work with you to keep you out foreclosure. And in some cases, I think the way that it works, they even kind of like pay it or talk with the bank in such a way so that you're able to keep your house, and which is a great option to have if you get there. Don't want to freak you out, but I do like to give you all options, because the worst thing we can do is withhold information out of fear, because
Yep.
then you're not able to game plan. So I'm all about throwing it all out on the table so you know everything, and then we can find a solution for how we fix it if that happens, because there's a solution for just about everything that happens in real estate. You just need to
Absolutely. And
know the
I,
information.
I agree with you, Michelle. Like things happen and we're not here to judge people. Like life happens. We went through a global pandemic, and so if you have partners that you know, like you don't feel judged, like, oh God, crap, Michelle, I just lost my job. I need to make sure I'm ahead of this. What do I do? We're not. People lose their job every freaking day. We are in the middle of a craziest economy and crazy dictate. Like, no, Ron, help me. It's like, okay, I got you. Like, whatever it takes. And so that's the part where we're relationship based, not transaction. And we know these timelines, so we can give you guidance and make sure you have the insurance, because some of them will pay the mortgage for up to 6 months while you're looking for a job. And doing the market rent analysis to make sure that if you had to rent your property out, you would know what it gets. And if you wanted to rent out per room, what that looks like, so that you're an empowered homeowner and you know the risks of what the timeline is, but also not to feel freaking super stressed out. Like if I were in a situation where I was facing a short sale, nobody's getting a house, anybody, or I'm thinking about chapter 13 or 7 because like I know it's a 2 years and I keep my primary residence and I can just restructure debt. But if people don't know that, they could feel like I have a client right now who is working with another judge fight agent who is terrified thinking about short sale or foreclosure, but she doesn't want to move back in the house because she had a horrible situation happened to her that I can't go into detail about, but I totally understand it. And she thought that the bankruptcy was 7 years, not foreclosure. I said, no, maybe you need to consult a bankruptcy attorney because it's only 2 years instead of 7. And she's like, wow, thank you so much. But again, we're here for all life situations and don't ever feel judged about it. And about credit cards, because again, the credit card debt right now is the highest we've seen in the country's history. Why? Because we have our inflation's been really high and prices have gone up and people's jobs aren't pay isn't in keeping up with inflation, which isn't news flash to anybody on this call, but some people are taken aback by this. They're like, "What? What? People are struggling?" It's like, "Yes, they are." And this is where we can go into it knowing and planning because like some people for me, like I work with some clients that need help with their credit because nobody ever helped them with it. And so they might be 2 years out, but if they know it's 2 years, it doesn't turn into 5. And we know, like, hey, maxing out credit cards, it can drop your points by this. 30-day late payment can drop it here. Debt settlements, those can destroy your credit. With those companies, they're like, don't pay your payments for 6 months and then we'll step in and negotiate for you. Trash, trash. Foreclosure, bankruptcy. And so that's where we go into what can impact your scores. If you hear my cat, he's like attached to me and he's singing the songs of his people right now under my door. And
We still don't hear him.
good, I can. But it's pretty nuts. Go away, buddy. He's like a little precious kitten, and usually he sits right up here, but he can't do that right now because I'll be distracted. But also with me, credit improvement. I have a top score program for all my clients. Whether if they have a 700, a 400, I don't care. I still run them through my top score program because I can show them little things that they can do to get their scores maximized. Because when you get under contract, usually it's 30 days to close. Well, say you have a 620, and if you just paid a credit card down by a couple bucks, you could get a 640. Why wouldn't I do that for you during the process? That could save you money on your interest rate. And if you already plan to pay your payment, it just didn't reflect in the balance because there's a difference between payment due date and when they report to credit, and you didn't know that. Well, I could fix that in 3 days and it doesn't cost you any extra money. It's just when you pull credit, it's a snapshot in time of what the balances are right then for the utilization and all the other scenarios. Sometimes we can get it updated quickly by just making them reflect the correct balance. So, this is some of the things that I do. Plus, if somebody's credit impaired, so say they were thinking about working with a credit company to dispute and do that process, with ChatGPT and all of these other programs, sometimes people have the time to do it themselves. But there are ways to improve your credit, self-reporting things that you don't have to pay a company to do if you have the time. And I always walk clients through that process of even if their credit's perfect, of little things they can do. Because again, it's not about this one transaction, it's about that path. Because if we can get your scores up, that can save you for the rest of your life so much money because you're paying better rates on everything you finance and not just your home. So it's important to know how to operate and manage and take control of your credit. So it's part of the process because there's, like I said, there's 4 key pillars of qualifying for a loan. Because when you pre-qualify, when you put your app in, it's just you. There's not a property. But once you actually are on a loan or a RESPA triggered application, there is a property involved. And so the next phase that we're looking up front is the first 3, but until you're under contract, your credit, your income, and your assets. Income. So what is that key pillar? What are we looking at? Because there's a ton of different ways that you are employed. Some people think, oh, I changed my job. I have to wait 2 years. No, Not always, because we can use previous experience. What is it? Did you change lines of work? If you're self-employed, some people feel so terrified to apply for a loan because they're self-employed and they write a bunch of stuff off. That's okay. We can look at what we can add back to your income. We can look at doing different styles of mortgages, but it's almost like somebody who knows they need to go to the gym and work out, but they don't want to do that until they get into better shape because they don't want to get a trainer. And they're like, I don't want to be embarrassed by the trainer. It's like the trainer is there to do the thing so you don't spin your wheels for the first 6 months doing the wrong thing. And that's what me and Nichelle are here to do, is to help make sure that you get this done efficiently and smoothly instead of just trying to figure it out on your own and go from there. Because we do this every day and we'll be able to give you a faster plan. And now, debt to income ratio is something we're going to look at, right? And so this is a couple combined income. This is the scenario, and can't wait for rates to be back here. But 5% down. When we're looking at debt to income ratios, we're not looking at anything other than what reflects on your credit. And so sometimes people think about their light bill. That's not something that we factor into your debt to income ratio. Or like what you pay for gas every month for your car. We're looking at car payments, student loans, things like that. So we have this, we get your debt to income ratio totaled here because it got the little scenario. So I have to run through all of that, but it's a key factor. Another reason why, like I mentioned earlier, FHA is great. They'll let you go to 56% on your DTI. Conventional, usually about 49%. VA, they don't have one, but it's case by case basis. But if you don't know, and like a depository, they have very strict guidelines. Some of them max DTI is 36. Well, this person might only be able to buy X house under their depository, but they come over to me, all of a sudden now they could buy a $500,000 house. Now, not that they should buy a $500,000 house, but imagine knowing that you could have bought a property that you would have stayed in for 10 years if you could have bought your a little bit higher price point, but then having to settle for something for 350 that you know you're selling in 3 years. So now you're paying extra fees and costs because you didn't get into the house that you should have up front. So having that flexibility is key. And so qualifying for the loan on assets, that can be intimidating because maybe somebody only has $1,000 right now or $500. What's the plan? Well, don't feel nervous because there's down payment, closing cost assistance, seller credits, and all of that. And we're looking at gifts, credits, grants. There's so much out there to help people get into homes. Like I said, I closed a loan yesterday. The guy's cash to close was $652. Yeah, it's crazy. And you can get a check back at closing if you get enough of a seller credit. But this guy, he got $1,000 seller credit, which is still good. But the house appraised for $5,000 over asking. So he's walking in with equity, 600 bucks out of pocket, and building long-term generational wealth. But this is the National DPA Down Payment Assistance, is what DPA stands for. And we also have state specific because these are great. You see credit scores minimum 600, 620, 660. So they have different programs. But this one is when and the guy I closed on Friday was T-Shack. T-Shack is phenomenal. There's others like Seth and TDHCA, but personally, I love T-Shack. They have Grant, which is treated as a gift, and they have their 3-year forgivable second lien. So what that is they give up to 5% of the total loan amount to help cover your cash to close, which includes your down payment and escrow account setups and all of that. And they allow, if the seller credit is enough, for you to get your POC costs, which is paid outside of closing, your earnest, option, and appraisal money back at closing. So imagine how many people have ever told you, like, he had his earnest option appraisal money that he had to pay up front. So his total start to finish out of pocket was $3,200. How many people have ever told you for $3,200 you could have bought a $300,000 house? Nobody. And that's the part where I'm like, we got to break these walls down. We got to break these barriers down because this man wouldn't be in a home today because he thought he had to have $30,000 in order to get into a home. But now he is. And I'm so proud of that. And Nichelle and I have helped so many clients this year utilize this program and other programs like it to make sure that they're getting to build their wealth instead of some other dork that's owning all these rental properties. and their minimum credit score is 620. Their income limits are generous. So, and I handle it all for you. This is just behind the scenes stuff so that you are an empowered, informed consumer. And it's not just like I make this joke about the Wizard of Oz, like being behind this curtain, because that's how I see the mortgage industry is like this big wall of separation. And they're this mystical figure when it's really just people like me and others who are regular people who eat and do everything else the same way everyone else does. And they want to have this air about them that they're better. No, the heck, they're not. And if you see the behind the scenes, now you are empowered and informed, and you can now make decisions that align with your current and long term goals. And so the last part is property, property appraisal. This is something that the lender is going to order on your behalf. It's your appraisal. But what does the appraisal do? That appraisal protects the lender. It makes sure that the property is there, that it's in livable condition, that it's safe as a property, because we can't go into like safety about the area, but it has to be out the Does it have a water heater? Does it have the appliances? Is it, are the, services set up? Electricity, gas, water. And some people are nervous about appraisals with FHA, right? That's a listing agent or an agent that isn't experienced. And I would have a red flag if somebody was worried if the property's going to approve FHA. What are you hiding? Because the only difference in an FHA appraisal and a conventional appraisal is they pay a little bit more attention to lead-based paint threats, like peeling paint, and like bugs. You see on this house right here where it has some dirt growing up on the concrete, that might seem petty, but on an FHA appraisal, they might say, hey, you got buildup along the foundation of this property. You need to get that down. Why? Wood rotting insects can get in. If there's a bunch of soil built up over your foundation and it's above the certain lines, that means insects can get right in your house. I'm sure you don't want to buy a house with a bunch of termites in it. So they're protecting your investment. The home inspection is different. That protects you. And we partner with some great home inspectors that'll go in and they're going to go through with a fine tooth comb, which can be intimidating. But again, with this, one of your largest investments, it's not like buying a pair of shoes. You want them to go in there and tell you all the threats. And I always tie this like kind of like to like a doctor and you're going in for a cancer diagnosis. Do you want them to be like, oh, everything's good. Just, light some candles and drink some beet juice, you'll be fine. No. You want them to be real with you and be honest and be real because then have a plan. This is what we do. We make sure that you understand what's going on and that you are informed so that if anything comes up, because do you know what the term for mortgage, when you look back to its origination of the word means? It is in Latin means death note. And so, yeah. And that's why it's like, okay, when I found that out after being in the business, I was like 2019 years old. I was like, when you guys get to know me, I am very aggressive on breaking systems. And so when I found out that's what that was, I was like, whose death? Because you're going to lose on this battle. But if you don't know what it means, you don't know that the system is meant to control for 30 freaking years. Nah. There's little things that we can do in between to game it to make sure that you're not stuck for 30. Because if you pay your payment on a bi-weekly basis, breaking it down, you take off like 7 to 10 years from your mortgage because you end up making an extra full mortgage payment twice a year. Because like those pay periods where you have like an extra pay period if you're paid every 2 weeks, that's what ends up happening. And then it takes 7 to 10 years off your mortgage. Nobody's telling people that. But reality is, how many of us know anybody that is not our grandparents or our parents that bought one house and lived in it for 30 years? It doesn't happen because you buy a house, it builds equity, you sell the house. Again, if you know the system, you know how to leverage your equity position, you're in control. But if you're just buying it because you think that's what you need to do, because that's like a checklist, you are falling for the system and not going to be happy. And so the last piece that I kind of really do is kind of go over what my process looks like. When we start with an initial consultation, either a phone call or a Zoom, and I get to know you as a person. You get to know me as a person. we talk about what the pre-qualification and pre-approval process looks like. Documents, your concerns, your fears, your questions, the timeline. So in that first conversation, we kind of go over those things. I send you the application link, you do the application, we review the application, get you pre-qualified so that you can start making offers. So then the next step, you start looking for homes because you know your numbers, you know your qualification range, and Nichelle and you are out making offers. When you submit an offer, usually Nichelle will put me on the email. I'll call the listing agent. Hey, listing agent, just want to let you know a little bit more about our client and their approval because in the third party financing addendum, it gives me the clearance to be able to communicate with that listing agent anything that pertains to the approval of this property. So we've reviewed the tax returns, we've reviewed the pay stubs, we've reviewed the W-2s, we've verified funds to close. They are ready to go. Good. Is there any questions that your sellers have for me in order to feel comfortable and confident selecting my client's offer? Oh, just want to check. The other lenders who submitted offers on this property, I'm sure they're calling you, right? What that does is cause cognitive dissonance because if the other lenders did not call them, that realtor has to either say, no, they aren't, or yeah, I guess. And now, who do you think they're going to accept? They're going to accept the one that did call because I already set the precedent that or the expectation that lenders should be calling to certify and verify their work. And if they didn't, shame on them because then they don't really stand behind it. When you're going through the process, offers accepted, we're calling, we're congratulating, we're going over disclosures, we send those out and get some finalized documents because sometimes that process of going out and finding homes is 30, 60, 90 days. Well, we might need new docs, updated pay stubs, minor things. Send it to processing. I've got some amazing processors. Rita and Wesley, they're phenomenal. That what they're doing is taking all the work we did, making it really pretty to send it to the underwriting team for them to do their review and then get you out your final approval and CD. Now, these two things right here have actually flipped. It should be loan documents at this phase under CD wait period because we send the CD out through the final CD at least 3 days before closing. And
What
so
is the CD?
the closing disclosure, that's a great question because in mortgage, it's different than buying a car. When you buy a car, you know you negotiate terms with a salesperson, and then you go to the finance office, and next thing you know, they're tacking on a bunch of stuff, things and terms change, and then they got to go back and forth with the manager. No. Here, the numbers usually are a little bit higher than initial disclosures because we don't know the third party fees. Remember that 8 companies and 32 people I talked about? Part of that is getting your homeowner's insurance because at front we don't have it, so we have to kind of estimate. We don't have the tax cert on the property you're buying, so we have to estimate. But during the process, that's why once those come in, you get extra rounds of disclosures. So that by the time you're closing, the numbers have to be at or less than what was originally quoted. So that closing disclosure has to go out a minimum of 3 days prior to closing. And then once you get that, you review it, make sure everything's accurate. We balance with title, send the final loan, the final closing disclosure, and then once that is out, the loan documents are sent to title, and then you're closing and funding. And we table fund, so that means there isn't a waiting period like on this last phase. Because if you're in like a state where it's an attorney state like New Jersey, there is a 3 day waiting period, or this process is what happens because the lawyers need time to review the closing documents. Here in Texas, it's not that. So these two are actually switched. You table close, you close, sign, docs get sent back to the lender, funding authorized, sent, you are finished. You are now a homeowner, but a new race begins because now you need to be successful here. And that's something that we're committed to and making sure you're good. And next, we'll go into Nichelle and her process and what she does so that you guys can understand a little bit from her perspective. Do you want me to run the clickety
Next
click?
slide. Yeah, one slide. You gave me. I can do it. Cool.
Okay.
So this is just recapping us. I forgot you made me. Well, actually, I think that's on yours, so you have to do it.
Okay. Wow. This
All
one?
right. So this is kind of like our 12-step process. We went over this, so I'm gonna pause just for a second, ask if you have any questions about it. I'm not gonna go back over again because we literally just went over this last Friday. Uh, And I'm not really big on redundancy if I don't have to be, but if you had any questions about this slide or anything else, the floor is now open. You can come off mic if you like. It's just
And I'm going
us.
to stop sharing the screen if that's cool with everybody.
I think so.
Boop, boop, boop. Now's the Q&A section, and I am going to let this monster in because he's distracting me. Little buddy.
I don't think my mom knows how to unmute.
How to get it off of
You
mute.
say hi.
I know she's trying. I see her face.
Boy. Little monster. This is Loan Officer Junior.
You just went off of it. Tap it again. You just got off, and then you went back on.
Wonder if I could unmute it for her. Nope.
I tried to, it wouldn't let me.
You whatever you just did, you just unmuted yourself. Yeah. But you keep going, you keep tap it once. Tap it
So
once.
where it
Whatever
says audio, yeah, tap it where it says audio one time.
you keep tapping it twice and then you mute yourself again. Whatever button you just pressed, you just unmuted yourself. Like
No, per monster.
Ron, while Lisa's trying to get that,
Hmm?
if you want to put your calendar in so that
Oh,
they
yeah.
can.
Let's see.
And now, Lisa, you've gone mute.
okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, you called her? Take your time. We've got almost an hour left, so. Yep.
Leo, I got to be able to do my business here, bud.
He's like, yeah, that's me.
He's like, yeah, I'm right here, buddy. Handle it. I'm desperate at this point.
Yeah, I was out for an hour and 30 minutes.
Yep. Meowing it at my top of my lungs. But his
Is
voice
Monica
sounds
not
like a little
home?
crackety voice. He's like, it's not like a normal cat sound, so he sounds like he's been smoking for 40 years.
And this is your kitten.
Yeah. Can I show him down here? You say hi to the
Aw,
people?
look at little Pudgy.
Yeah, he's a little thick. I feel he is spoiled. Like the little tuna things, he
Uh-huh.
likes those, and so he gets a lot of those during the day.
He eats well.
He eats well and has treat stations and automatic feeders and everything. And my other cat, Annie, the little princess, she doesn't like those tunas unless it's actual real tuna from Trader Joe's, and she's got more refined taste. It's
And I'm
funny.
not surprised that you have automatic figures throughout the house.
Yeah, I ain't
Little
got time
snacks
to
thing.
remember that with my ADD and automatic cat boxes. Two of them.
So they take care of themselves.
Mhm. Perfect cat, perfect animals. And I would not spend $1,000 on the big one because the $250 one or 225 from TikTok is
Mhm.
good enough. It's perfect. And it doesn't look as future, but it works. It's cleaning crap. So
It looks,
it works well.
yeah, I got lost in that TikTok. She's coming back with her other phone.
Cool.
Yeah, I got lost in that TikTok because I've been looking at that new Hoover. Um, she'll be
The
back in a
vacuum.
minute. No, the Hoover drone.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm in on that. I would love to
Because the
get.
one, the one, the yeah, the one that I got, I've been playing with it, but it requires a lot more maneuverability.
Yeah.
This Hoover one seems like it's just like intuitive. So
Yeah.
you just release it and it kind of follows you, which is really what I prefer than me trying to figure out how to navigate it and stuff.
Yeah. I haven't played with the drones just yet, but I'd love
And
to.
look at the okay, it's on mute now.
We got you.
I hear you.
Yes. Oh, finally.
We don't see you,
Finally.
but we hear you, but and that's fine.
Okay, let me bring the volume up. That now I am I hold on.
Take your time.
How do I get all of you now on the screen? I'm only seeing you, Nichelle.
Did you look at your, can you see like views up at the top where it has like little dots? Because you probably have it
Yes.
on speaker. Change it to gallery.
Okay. Now I do. Okay.
Okay.
Except it's on, I can't see me, but that's okay.
We don't see you either.
Oh, there we go. Start video.
Okay.
Now
There you
you see
are.
me. Alrighty. Thank you. That
You're
was
welcome.
that was an ordeal.
That's quite all right. I have a technology background, but we had a list online and she took care of us, so we all good. So
Okay.
catch us up. I know you had some questions.
Oh gosh. I was writing as we were talking. Um,
And you guys will get a transcript of today's call too because of the chat wizard AI thing that runs and records.
oh, I see. I guess we went through all the stuff last week. But then I had a question like uh from and I think this is more along the lines of me and Alyssa and how you mentioned the story about the dad and daughter signing and all that. But since Alyssa is not does not have a job as such, I don't
Mhm.
know what the other circumstances were. Will I be that person for her to sign, like co-signing on the loans?
There's a couple of different structures that we could do on that. Because as like for instance, when parents are paying or buying a house for their kid who's in college or whatever, they can buy it for their child. Their parent is the person whose income we're using to qualify them, and the the person that we call it dependent. The dependent is on the mortgage and the deed. So there's a
Okay.
couple different strategies we can look at for you to see which makes best.
Okay.
Mhm. That's why it's always custom tailored to somebody's um, individual profile because every loan, even though the programs are the same, every loan is different because there's different scenarios for each person.
Okay. All right.
Yep. But college does count towards experience. So
Mm.
that's something that's really good when people are in college to be able to use that, especially when they leave and say they get a job. Some people think
Mm-hmm.
you need 2 years of work, but they count college as work,
Oh,
even
okay.
though there's not income necessarily, unless there is a part-time job. But
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Okay. Well, that will help a lot. Then the other thing is for us primarily, this is more like rental
Hmm.
versus living.
Hmm.
Then how then does that work? If she is in college, how would that work? I'm not sure.
It's a good question. So it depends on the property type too, and kind of making sure whatever properties we're looking at make sense to
Mm-hmm.
achieve those ends. Because how much were you thinking if you were going to pay in rent that the rent would be per month?
Mm, maybe 15 to 2.
Yep, that's about normal. So then what we would look at is, especially with the down payment and closing cost assistance programs,
Mm-hmm.
they allow you to buy duplex and fourplex with the same amount of money out of pocket as buying a single family.
Mm-hmm.
And the rent collected from the other sides or units can help
Mm-hmm.
offset the debt to income ratio.
Okay.
Depending on where she's looking, she might be able to find a duplex or fourplex where the other units pay for the entirety of the mortgage, so she doesn't have one, and her out-of-pocket costs would be the same as if she bought a regular place.
Okay.
Or maybe some people don't want to be like that and don't want to deal with that. They just want to buy a condo that Like the client we were talking about, she bought a condo, got a fantastic deal on it, and her payment is less than or equal to what she was paying in rent. So that's where it's again tailoring it to your scenario to where it's like, why pay rent of 1,500 when you can buy a condo with the same payment? At least you're building equity. And
Mhm.
once she graduates, she can now turn that into her first rental property, or you guys can, and she can go
Mhm.
buy her next house as a primary, use the
Mhm.
DPA program again, and not
Mhm.
have any or hardly any out-of-pocket costs.
Okay.
So there's so many cool solutions that we'll look at in that call. And that's where we're identifying what's going on in the plans. And then I put together a really great total cost analysis with video that that you save and you have access to so you can watch it over again and see the trajectory.
Okay.
But I think it's smart buying a house. If I could go back in time, my son's 21. And he's at least smarter than or more emotionally regulated than I was at 21. I was a freaking psycho. He is like a good kid because he had actually decent parents. But like I told him, I was like, buddy, he's in the Air Force in South Dakota. And I'm like, we're gonna buy you a house as soon as you've been in for 2 years. You're gonna live in it, and then buy another house after 12 to 24 months, live in it, 12 to
Mhm.
24 months, another one. So that by the time because he wants to stay in the Air Force for 20 years to get retirement. I was like, if we can get you in that 20-year period, 5 or 6 duplexes. When you retire at 39, you'll have income from your retirement
Mhm.
monthly at
Mhm.
39 and passive income through these rental properties
Mhm.
and never have had to put 20% down.
Mhm.
And I wish somebody would have told me that at that age because I wouldn't have been renting apartments and renting houses since I was out of high school and college. I would have bought a condo or a townhome, but actually I would have went for duplexes and fourplexes because you spread the risk out over multiple doors instead of one.
Mhm.
But sometimes the areas we're looking in don't offer those types of properties, so
Mhm.
it is what it is. But if I could go back to me 21, I would have looked and only bought in areas with fourplexes and duplexes.
Okay. But I guess then I don't know the Texas and real estate like that. Areas with with these fourplexes or duplexes, then are we talking a really high mortgage that may be more than I can afford? I know we're talking about um the rent supplementing the mortgage, but God forbid something did happen.
Yeah,
Then
that,
what?
that that's the part where we look at it as long as it aligns with your current and long-term financial.
Okay.
And
Okay.
some places already come with tenants and
Okay.
already have lease agreements in place. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's again where we're working with an amazing realtor that is not trying to overcomplicate the process. It's just concepts and ideas to consider. And if the right opportunity presents itself, being prepared to take advantage of it, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily feeling like you have to wait for this perfect opportunity because
Mm-hmm.
it's like trying to catch a unicorn. And
Mm-hmm.
you could spend your whole life waiting versus taking action right now and finding the best deal that's on the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Okay.
it's just knowing what's a possibility and there's a lot of great areas that have them. It's just that again, some places like Plano is not known to have a bunch of fourplexes available right now. And so that's where it's just like depending on where your area is, because where will you be going to school, Alyssa?
I'm currently in at Villanova, which is in like
That's better.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're coming to Texas, and which school will you be going to down here?
I'm not sure because when I graduate, I'll just probably work in a hospital as a nurse.
Okay,
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. First of all, Villanova is an amazing school. So congrats. And mom, congrats. You raised an
Mm-hmm.
amazing daughter
Thank
because
you.
that's a huge achievement. And so coming to Texas, Texas is one of the best places for medical programs because, like, especially Plano, Richardson, Dallas, there's so many freaking hospitals here. And you will never not need a job, like, or not have options for jobs. If like a place starts to suck, you can be like, all right, I will literally walk across the street because there's Medical City Plano, Medical City Dallas, and this one, that one, Baylor. So tons of
UT
options.
Southwest.
Yeah, UT Southwest, UT, like it's everywhere. And there's options. And so that's going to be a good thing too. Have you had a chance to come down here and tour any hospitals or any of the districts?
Not yet, but it's definitely a goal of mine in the next few months to a year.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, as of right now, I've kind of given them my Real Scout so that they can see what's in the area, see what the market is like, start to see the houses. And we're looking in like areas around Oakland, areas around UT Southwest area, areas up there by SMU,
Yeah.
areas around Medical City, all these places, because as you and I know, in city centers, those are going to be good places that if she doesn't move into it right away, she can
Yep.
start to debt service
Yes.
faster in those areas just because people do a lot of short-term rentals and month-to-month rentals.
Yep. And that's again goes back to having that good realtor that understands that. And Nichelle, like when we talked a little bit about like past experience, like it matters because when we talk about some realtors have been in this business 20 years, they're just repeating year one. And it can be frustrating because a person could choose a realtor who has 20 years experience over a person that has five because they think that means something and it doesn't. The fact that Nichelle even talked about those things shows you that she's leaps and bounds ahead of almost 95% of the realtors I've worked with. And it's frustrating. And because that shows they didn't invest in their craft. These concepts, she knows and lives this experience because, and knowing the area, the geographical competency is so important. And the debt servicing, because she knows like traveling nurses come into town, especially
Mm-hmm.
here in Texas, and those nursing opportunities. So if you got called to go to Boston, Alyssa, to go work up in there, and you have a property here, you're not in a feeling like, oh, I can't accept this offer up here because I'm trapped in my property down here. Heck no. Network with the people that are in your hospital, and you could even talk to your hospital and let them know that you have a property that you'd consider renting out to their traveling nurses. Talk to the recruiters who are going to be recruiting you and let them know you have that opportunity. And now all of a sudden you have and your realtor and you introduce them to your realtor so they can coordinate all that for you. You're empowered. You're not reactionary in anything. It's proactive response to home ownership. So yeah, there's a bunch of areas down here that Nichelle mentioned that you'll be good. And some of it has, if and Nichelle probably knows it more than I do, but like just kind of custom tailoring it to your guys' scenario. What are some of the things you enjoy to do on your time off? Like, what's your favorite hobbies and things?
Um, I like going on walks, and my mom and I like trying new restaurants like in the area. Um, and like I don't know, I'd want a place that's not too busy, but still like easily accessible. And yeah, able to like walk around, go on runs, like that type of thing.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, again, it's like kismet almost because like Plano, Richardson all have a bunch of hospitals right there. Downtown Oakland, they have the walkability is huge. Restaurants are everywhere, and if you don't want to live in the city, like I like Richardson a lot because it's like right near the highways to get you wherever you got to go. There's a ton of different restaurants, and there's the walking trails. But close up, Oakland, you got the Trinity thing, the whole huge thing that goes around all these
Katy
restaurants and
Trail.
bars. Yeah, Katy Trail, and like there's just so much fun stuff here that you'll enjoy, and the investment
And you're
opportunities.
right by the airport.
Yeah, and Love
Oh,
Field and DFW can get too quick. Y'all know what I'm
I saw you,
saying?
Lisa. Yeah, and yeah, like that. That's why I picked Oakland because it really is centrally located. It's like
Yes.
it's right by Love Field.
Yep.
So that's a really good point there. And then you got all the restaurant like how about you've got Katy Trail, and you've got the McKinney area, which has a
Yeah.
lot of restaurants and so forth. So you've got a lot of different places in that area. But then we also have similar stuff if you go uptown to like Addison and Plano and Richardson that offers similar to the same stuff. Not so much as the commercial airlines, they have more private planes up there,
Yeah.
but you still have the functionality.
Yep.
okay.
That's gonna be good.
Any other
What's
good questions? We still got time.
No, I don't really have any more, really. I've been taking notes. Very no, I don't really have. I have to look into like some of the stuff that he's mentioned. I'm familiar. I've owned a home for 14 years. Um, but I'm not familiar with the programs that you might have. I know about the conventional versus FHA, fixed versus adjustable. I'll talk to Alyssa more about those. Um, but when it comes to like assistant funds, I'm not sure where we will qualify for those kind of things. If
I got you.
so those would be
Yeah, and so
things.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that's it. That's it.
No, so we'll talk about that, but we normally use T-Shack, but I think in your case, and we'll probably have to go with Seth,
Mhm.
Hmm.
because we talked about, I think T-Shack is, where is it up to run? 138,
It-
139.
it's actually like around 142 now.
So it's up to 142. And
Yeah.
and then I know. But we also have Seth, which
Hmm.
has a higher cap.
Yep. And Chinoa
Um,
has no cap.
and so Nova has no cap. So that's why I wanted you to get with Ron because he knows the other places that have no caps. So we
Okay.
can still get the assistance without the cap.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. All
Yep.
right.
And Mid America has, and I'm sorry, and there's other companies like Mid America that and different investors like Chinoa that have no caps. And what's really cool about American Pacific Mortgage and our company Meridian Mortgage is we have our own in-house DPA program that doesn't have a purchase price cap or an income cap. So that's where it's again custom tailoring into somebody's unique scenario and
Okay.
going from there.
Okay. All right. Um,
Cool.
Yeah.
mm,
And where
cool.
do you stay?
Me?
Where's your house?
I'm in Boston. Uh,
Awesome.
yeah. And
That's where we
Nichelle had
are.
mentioned Baltimore last week, but I'm in Boston.
Oh,
Yep.
it's Baltimore. I don't know why I thought it was Baltimore, not Boston. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in Boston. Just outside of Boston, so a small town about 15, 20 minutes from Boston proper.
Awesome. Yeah, I grew up in Tingsboro, Mass.
I heard you mention things where I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that sounds interesting. No one
Yep.
really knows of things where.
I know it's tiny. It's about 10,000 people. And when I was there, my graduating class was 256.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yep, my cousins and everybody live in Woburn.
Yeah.
Anna, when Grandpa when they were alive, they were in Burlington, and
Okay.
so I was all up in there. And my nieces live in Drake it.
Oh, wow. Wow. You're scattered all over.
I miss the foliage. I miss the nature aspect
Yeah.
of
Yes.
Massachusetts and New England, but I don't miss having to shovel my roof at 3 in the morning because my parents weren't gonna do it. They're like, "Hey, get up, go shovel the roof."
Yes, that is so. That is so. So yeah, I'm in Boston
You're
and
probably sitting on mad equity right now if you've been there for 15 years.
um somewhat. It's a small
Some,
town.
really.
I say
Yeah.
somewhat, yeah, because I've had it, like I said, I've been here for 14, almost 15.
Yeah.
Um, the house was bought for, it's probably worth double the price of what I paid or a little bit more than that.
That's awesome.
Um, so
I
yeah,
love it
so,
out there.
some equity, yes. So which is
Great.
one of the reasons why and when we saw and we were talking to Nichelle in New Orleans, I'm like, Alyssa, this is all I've been talking to you about. You need to get your wealth. You
Yes.
need to not be working like I am at
Yep.
my age, and I don't want this for you. I've tried to talk to my son. He's a little bit older than her. There's a
Yeah.
13-year age difference between them, but that's like on deaf ears somewhat. So he's
Yep.
getting there, but not as quickly as she
Yep.
is. So I'm focusing my attention on her. And when he gets there, I'll focus my attention on him.
Yep.
So I
Probably
want her
after
to
she
do this.
buys.
Say that again.
Probably after she buys, he's gonna be like, "Wait a minute, my younger
Um,
sister just bought." And you're like, "Yeah, I
y-
did actually."
I'm
She
pretty
and I
sure,
graduated from
yes.
Villanova.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
so that's the goal for her. I'll start with her,
Cool.
get her at least somewhat situated so she can be a little bit more stable at an earlier age, and then I'll focus on him.
Good. That's awesome.
Mm.
Congrats. That I mean, you did you have what you've already done sounds phenomenal, and nobody gave us an owner's manual for our kids. We're just kind of guessing. And so
Yes, that is true.
you watched us grow up.
Yeah, that is so true. Yes.
It's a lot
Mm.
to deal with. That's what I tell my son all the time. I was like, hey, you're 21. That's how old I was when I had you. So
And
how would you fare?
that's exactly it. That's how old I was when I had my son. I was a little bit younger,
Yep.
and I'm like, I've worked and I've worked and I've worked.
Yes.
I work 6 days a week for the most part right now, and
Yep.
I'm like, no, I don't want you. I'm a nurse also,
Yeah.
so I don't want you to be doing this when you're my age. I want for you to be, just relaxing and chilling. And if you
Yes.
choose to work, you work, and if you
Yes.
don't, it is okay. You'll
Yes.
be okay.
Yep. Same. That's what I told him. I was like, brother, 20 years is going to pass whether you like it or not, and it's going to go faster than you ever realized.
Yes.
I was like,
Yeah.
look at me like I'm a time traveler. I was your age, and now I'm 42. And I'm telling you, if you just do these things, by the time you are my age, you will be free. You won't have to go to work every day. And
Yes.
if you don't want to, you can go live in Bali and have fun, see the world, travel, and have passive income. And because the military retirement, they pay well. But if you have rental properties, you don't need to make a bunch of money. And so many people are stuck with, I got to make all this. What do you
Mm-hmm.
really need to be free? Is it 6, 7 grand a month? Great.
Mm-hmm.
Do a couple of rental properties.
Yes.
Go do weird stuff in other countries and have fun and see the world. Like this whole stay at a job for 40 years and never have fun is over.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited for you. And
Yes.
like having a family in the medical field, you are in demand everywhere and
Mm-hmm.
in any economy. And it's a hedge against any future drama because especially when we have Muppets running our medical system right now, and you know, you're gonna be in demand. So,
There's
hey,
another reason I like Ron. So
yeah,
we speak of truth here that you don't always hear other places.
yeah.
So
So what are the next steps then in terms of this? I know we mentioned like a pre-approval, all that. You run the numbers. How does that work? Like what do I need to
Yeah.
do?
So in the chat log, I put my calendar link, and so what we would do is set up a consultation with us. We could do it either Zoom or phone call,
Mm-hmm.
and just a little bit more in depth of what you're looking at, timelines, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'll send you my application link. You'll have that, get that filled out, so we can do the numbers and analysis, and you'll get what's called a total cost analysis, and it gives like 4 scenarios with a
Mm-hmm.
video that breaks down costs,
Mm-hmm.
payments, everything, so you'll see it. Um, and then you're out there making offers and figuring out how to tour properties and being ready to purchase when the right property comes across. But
Mm-hmm.
the next steps would be to schedule a consultation
Mm-hmm.
and to once you're ready to do the application, to do the application online. You'll set up and we'll go over that in the consultation as well, but you set up a secure portal, which is all part of that single link. But then you can track your progress. Nichelle will have access to print your letters directly from there. She doesn't have access to your private information. She just has a
Mm-hmm.
place where she can go and print your pre-qualification letter and also see where we're at in the status so that she's
Mm-hmm.
never in the dark as well.
Okay.
But yep, that would be the next step.
Okay.
yep, and so after you get that, you have your pre-approval, you have the keys, and then it kind of switches more to me and you finding properties, and that's where we can tour them electronically. Like I told you about the Zoom calls, well, I actually use Google Meets,
Mm-hmm.
or you could come out in person, whichever works best for you, or a combination of the two. And then once we have the property, then we loop Ron back in and we move forward with those 12 steps.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So the consultation will entail I'm asking this as a question. Will it entail like me figuring out what's the best thing, what kind of loan to get, or will that come further in the process?
So that's a great question. The initial consultation is us just kind of
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more in depth of what we're doing today,
Mm-hmm.
getting to know your scenario, budget, concerns, fears, um,
Mm-hmm.
timelines. And then once the application comes in, then
Uh-huh.
I see the application, I see the
Mm-hmm.
parameters, and then I go over the options because I'll know the options for you once the application comes in. And we
Mm-hmm.
have oh, don't touch the buttons. You could turn this off there, bud. then I'll know kind of the behind the scenes info of what programs that you'd qualify for.
Okay, I
But then I
see.
present all that to you, so you are making the informed decision instead of the great and powerful laws behind the curtain doing it.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Okay. All right.
But yeah,
All right then.
cool.
I look forward to
Absolutely.
it.
Cool.
Well, we've given you 30 minutes of your day back.
Yes, we have.
Questions.
Okay. All right.
Going once.
All right then. Thank you.
No, we're
Oh,
not rushing you.
No
I'm just trying
oh,
to make sure you.
no, I'm good. I'm good with the
Melissa,
Alyssa.
any questions, concerns, comments, thoughts?
No, I'm just excited. I mean, I think my mom asked most of the questions that I was curious about, but I don't have any questions as of right now.
Cool.
Alrighty.
Alyssa and
We'll
Mom,
be
you got
talking. I'm
questions?
here if you need. I'm here if you need me, and I'll find Ron will tell me, and you also let me know once you guys schedule and after you've had your initial meeting.
Okay.
Sounds
Okay
good.
then. All
Awesome.
right.
You guys
Alrighty.
have a good
Thank you
afternoon.
guys.
You too.
Have a
Thanks.
good
All right.
afternoon. Enjoy your weekend.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.